To have you back. Let's bring you this now. The South African Human Rights Commission and UCT's Online High School are on a mission to improve the lives of girls in rural areas. Well, they've partnered to accelerate access to online learning for these girls. But for more on this initiative, we are joined by the director and principal of the UCT Online High School. That's Ms. Yandiswa Xhakaza. Thank you for your time, Yandiswa. Good morning to you. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and I couldn't even be more excited to talk about this particular initiative. Take me through the synergy that you have found between yourself and, as opposed to the SA Human Rights Commission here to assist young girls, particularly in rural areas, and why this is so important.
It's such an important initiative for us because the South African Human Rights Commission agrees with us that we need to make high-quality education accessible to all children in South Africa, not to a select few that are in cities, but particularly those in rural areas as well. But using the modality of online learning means that there are inherent exclusions there in terms of just access to a device, a laptop, access to network, access to Wi-Fi, all of those things have become a human right because if it's a modality that children have to access quality education, and in future, I mean, even now, to access job opportunities, to access business opportunities, then we should surely then make it accessible to everyone so that everyone can participate and take advantage of the opportunities that are online.
Yeah. When we think of rural environments, areas, settings, we know of the number of challenges there, Yandiswa. I think you mentioned some of them: the digital divide, high level of unemployment, poverty, HIV and AIDS in these communities. How do you plan to phase in this online, education system while navigating these challenges? And where exactly will you be starting?
Awesome question. So in this particular initiative, we're actually working closely with a local NGO called Imbeleko Foundation. And they are in the community. They've been working in the community of a Valley of 1,000 Hills. And they are able to identify some of the socioeconomic factors affecting the girls in that specific community, and they address these. So it's really about collaboration and working together with others. We can't do everything on our own. There's an ecosystem of NGOs, there's an ecosystem of Human Rights Commission, there's an ecosystem of online schools, so it's all about fostering those partnerships to make sure that whilst we will provide the education aspect of it, the academics and the learner support, there is a local NGO that knows the issues on the ground, and they will be able to feed back to us and say, these are some of the issues we're battling with. So when you're asking our learners to be online at 8 p.m. in the evening, these are the issues, and this is why they can't actually be there. So it's working with others, and that's how we are starting it off with this particular partnership.
Right, and I understand that even through what you're saying about working with other stakeholders, you're taking a step further. You're also advocating obviously for online education, advocating for policy and legislative changes to promote online education. How important is this, and how far do you think your influence has stretched in ensuring that it moves from a conversation to implementation?
Lovely. So it's critical for us, particularly because, and I think from a legislative point of view, I've been incredibly proud of our government. There is currently a policy that is in circulation for commentary from stakeholders. And already that is an online school policy. And it looks at things like the online environment is here to stay. We're not going back to normal. So from a legislation point of view, there are massive changes and adaptations that are happening there. And that is important because legislation affirms, what is already happening in the market. UCT Online High School is not the first or the only online high school. In fact, there's a growing number of online high schools. So that tells you that this way of learning, there is a market for it, and there are people that are responding quite well to it. And for me personally, I think it's critical because we want to be globally competent as a country, as the young people of this country. So there are skills that children in your normal brick and mortar school are simply not learning, at least not as quickly as they should be, that children who are in an online environment are going to be learning, because that's how they are learning in any case. So it's preparation for just how the world has shifted so quickly. So our kids will be able to adapt into that space because of the way in which they are already learning.
Yeah, and I have to commend UCT Online High School. I have to commend the SA Human Rights as well for ensuring that, you know, the most vulnerable children are not left behind as we continue to move, you know, through the online education sector. And thank you so much, Yandiswa, for this initiative. And speaking to us this morning, we appreciate your time. Yandiswa Xhakaza, Director and Principal of UCT Online High School.